Welcome to today's session. Before we begin, look at the code on my screen. This is a very common script that asks a user for a number. Enter a number, and then what it does, it performs a division. It looks perfectly fine at first glance, but if we run this program and let's say the user enters 0, or let's say instead of a number he enters a text 10, what happens? The program immediately crashes. So when a program crashes like this, it stops everything. For a user, this is a terrible experience. As developers, our goal is to build software that is resilient and handles mistakes gracefully. So to do this in Python, we use a structure called try and except. This allows us to manage errors instead of letting them kill our application like this. So let's use the try block. So we use the keyword try and colon, and then place our list of the bunch of lines of code that we want the Python, and you are telling the Python to monitor this section of code. So when Python runs this section of code, and if it encounters any error such as the value error or zero division error, it will look for the instructions. Let's say if it encounters this error, we say the instructions is to print a message, or you can use any other code, as many lines of code after this inside this block. So that's what Python will look, and that's why we have this except block, so to provide these instructions. So it acts as a handler, so we can define exactly which errors we want to catch. So we are catching here value error, zero division error, or any other error. By being so specific here, we can give the user a clear explanation of what went wrong. So this is much better than showing them a raw system error, something like this, that they might not understand. Sometimes we need to perform a task regardless of whether an error happened or not. That's why we use the finally block. So I will show you the program. But before that, what is a finally block? The finally block is, as I typed here, is finally, and this keyword, when you use this block of code under this finally, is something that another set of lines of code that you want to execute, that is guaranteed to execute. Even if a program encounters a massive error, the code inside the finally will run for sure before the program moves on or stops. So this is essential for cleanup task. So you at the end of the program, you might want to clean up the data or print a message here, confirmation message. So that's why we need that cleanup tasks to go here in the finally. So if your code opens a database connection, for example, or if it opens a local file, you must ensure that those resources are closed properly to save memory. So now let me show you a full script, a professional version that has all the try catch finally in it. So this is a full script, and you can see here this is a method, save division method, and we are calling that in our program. But what this method has is, it has a try block where we have a bunch of code, lines of code that we want to execute. So look at this code. So whenever this code is executed and it encounters errors, and we are very specific here, and we are telling that the value error encounters, so this handles the cases where the input is not a number. So we print a meaningful message to the user that the user can understand and realize that, oh, I entered an invalid input. And if the user enters 0, we tell the user that division by 0 is not possible, so the user can understand and run the program and enter the correct input. So this is a big program. So now let's go to the next section. The else block, you can see here, is very particularly important. Many beginners forget this. It is the best place to put the code that should run only if no exceptions were raised in the try block. In other words, when this line of code in the try block runs perfectly fine, there are no errors to be caught. So it's going to, in that case, when there are no errors or exceptions, it is going to come to the else block and print the success message. So you can see here, this runs only if the try block was successful. In other words, there are no exceptions. Also, look at the exception as error. Look at this line. This is an exception as error line. So this is a very useful technique. It captures the actual error message from the Python and stores it in the variable error. So you can later print the error. What is the error? And so you're basically storing it in the variable error, which has the actual information about the exception, and it allows you to print it or log it for debugging purposes. So you can see here the 4 blocks here: the try block, the except block, you can have one or more, and else block, and then the finally block. This is where all the cleanup happens or any confirmation message you want to print to the user. And this set of code is under the finally is always guaranteed to run. So you can see how this gives you full control over the flow of your program even when things go wrong. And you can see in a professional environment, writing defensive code like this is mandatory. It prevents data loss and keeps your services running smoothly in a production program 24 hours a day. So I encourage you to take your existing scripts and wrap them, the risky parts of code, in these blocks, so you can see how it changes the way your program handles unexpected data. If you find this video clear and helpful, please like the video and subscribe for more technical deep dives. Thank you for watching, and keep practicing. Keep practicing your automation and development skills, and I will see you in the next video.